You know what happens every time a new GPU releases?
People get really angry about something.
Well, that too, but they're always like, oh man, you compared it to the last generation, but you didn't compare it to my favorite GPU that I'm still running in my system today.
Oh, the GeForce 3.
No, probably the legendary, the Hall of Famer
Yeah.
GTX 1080 Ti.
But they call that one the GOAT.
The GOAT.
I think it's because it's a real good and it eats a lot of grass.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we decided, you know what? What if we literally take this, imagine a world where this was a $750 GPU against what launched at $700
Yeah.
GPU,
like
the best of all time.
A long time ago. Like $700 back when this card came out is probably like $3,000 now.
Yeah,
though.
well, whatever.
But like, we don't need to get into that.
Yeah, either way, how does the 5070 Ti stack up to the greatest of all time? That's what we're here to answer. All right, so I ran some benchmarks
Okay.
on our test bed.
Crunching numbers.
Yeah, crunching numbers. If you want to go see the test bed configuration, just go down in the description, all that stuff.
Okay.
We're gonna get right into the benchmarks, because
Yeah.
guess what? We're gonna start with the showstopper, which is, this card is old.
Yeah.
It's great,
It was a good card back in the day.
but it's old, and you know what? There's some things that it just cannot keep up with the 5070 Ti, namely AI text generation. The 5070 Ti was built for AI.
Yeah, they didn't have, like, it was Jude Law and Macaulay Culkin in a movie about a robot
When the 50
when the 1080 Ti came out.
Yeah, exactly. And guess what? Look at these numbers. These numbers are disappointing.
Well, one bar is really small and one bar is really big. You know what we always say here?
Yeah, smaller
Always be
bar
testing.
worst.
Oh, yeah.
That too.
Nailed it.
Yeah, if you want to know, we're talking about upwards of 2,754% on that Llama 2 model.
I looked at these numbers. I'm going to tell you, I did the percent differences a minute ago. I ran them 3 times just to be sure. And it's like, the bar's really small in the 1080 Ti for the AI stuff.
Yeah, so you want to run some local AI, you're not going to do it on your
But it has
1080
video
Ti.
decoder, so you can watch Steven Spielberg's AI on that video card.
Speaking of video decoders,
Yeah.
how does it perform in Premiere? Well, this one is a little more modest. It was only 77% uplift on over the 1080 Ti.
This to me says, hey, if you're just doing Premiere and you're 1080 Ti, probably fine.
Well, but I think-
NVENC doesn't exist on this card though.
Well, but I think where this probably falls down is the higher resolutions. I bet at 1080p.
Oh.
Yeah, it can hold its own, but the higher resolutions, or whatever. Also, guess what?
Yeah. No ray tracing?
Yeah, the 1080 Ti GOAT last GTX model
Yeah.
that we got. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
The G
Yeah.
is for not ray tracing.
Exactly. And so this chart shows
Well, the
an infinite
gap here.
gap between the 1080 Ti and the 5070 Ti.
How big is infinity, Adam?
I don't know. We should look into it. Either way, okay. Those are the obvious things.
Yeah.
Those are just things that change over time, right?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. You're saying, Adam, but I'm only playing rasterized games on my 1080 Ti.
That's pretty much all you can play on your
Exactly.
1080 Ti.
Yeah. So now let's get to those. First up, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The 1080 Ti in average FPS at 1440p over the 5070 Ti is 147%.
So that could be worse. That's pretty, like, not a lot of ray tracing. No ray tracing in Assassin's Creed.
Was this billed as a 1440p card?
No, this was just, they just called video cards back then. This was the fast. They had a slow one and a medium speed one, and then they had a fast one.
Yeah.
This was the fast one.
Well, and you're still getting a smooth 60 at 1440p.
but
okay, well maybe not smooth.
You
those
got an
1%
asterisk
lows.
there,
Yeah.
though. The 1% lows, real bad.
Real bad. That's half,
Smooth 27.
more than half of the average frame rate, which is not the case on the 5070.
No, it's not great.
But
you're
actually not as, these numbers are not as bad as I expected them to be.
Okay.
Well, that's just Assassin's Creed. What about Call of Duty Black Ops 6?
Oh, COD Blops 6.
Yes.
The latest in the Blops
Yeah,
franchise.
well, this one, luckily, the 1% lows are not as bad on the 1080 Ti, but we're talking about now a gap of 178%.
So this is a place where, like, when you look at the Steam charts, the 1080 Ti still is pretty high up there. It's definitely in the top 100. There's a lot of people using those cards. I would not be surprised at all if Call of Duty is a game that actually sees a fair amount of 1080 Ti play.
Yeah.
And as a result, they actually spend some time on it.
And so this is with upscale times 2, meaning this is rendering natively at 720p.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a smooth 60 at 720p.
Look, the 1% lows. You can get your smooth 40 there.
Yeah, there you go. So what about Cyberpunk without ray tracing? Because we know what the ray tracing number was. This one, once again, we're at 1440p. So far, we're getting, hitting around 60 FPS.
Playable. This is firmly in the playable camp.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly, the 5070 faster. Now the other thing
not as much. The gap is a little closer.
130% is quite a bit
versus
faster.
170% on the last one.
I mean,
so.
look, the deltas are closing, but I don't feel like the 1080 is going to shine here. The thing that is worth mentioning here is this was on your normal video card test bed, which is a 7950
or 7950 X3D.
Yeah, so probably you don't have your 1080 Ti in a 7950 X3D machine right now. So your 1080 Ti numbers probably gonna be a little bit lower than this in a working system.
We gave it the best possible scenario that it could have performed at. Speaking of best or worst possible scenario, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I actually thought this one would do really well because this is an older game.
Yeah,
like much older, like probably the time that this came out. Hey, we're doing well over a smooth 60. We got a smooth 80 here on the averages, but man, that jump to the 5070 Ti is 204% in averages.
Look, yeah, it's a lot slower, but you have a 1080 Ti, you probably not running a 240 Hz 1440p monitor. The thing I gotta say, shout outs to those 1%, because that gap between the 83 frames per second average and the 71% 1%, pretty good. Sorry, 95% highs.
Yes, they're on the GPU itself.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice work, Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
The 5%, yeah. Well, we've got one more. Here is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Yeah,
it's another good delta between the 1% and the
you're hitting high refresh rate. You're getting you have a 120 hertz 1440p panel.
Yeah,
that works pretty well there. But
yeah,
it's 180 or the 5070 Ti is 180% faster.
So the question you get is, hey, if I get this new expensive video card, is it going to make my games run fast? And the answer is it depends. Always, because it depends on what your CPU is. It depends on whether you have a motherboard that supports resizable bar, all of that stuff.
Yep.
But all other things being equal, the new card's gonna be faster than the old card.
I mean, we're talking about anywhere from 120% to 200%.
2,754% in that Llama 3.
Yeah.
It's a lot of percent.
So what do you think? If you were on a 1080 Ti, would you upgrade?
I mean, I hate to say it, 1080 Ti end of life this year. Like it's time to play the Sarah McLachlan for the 1080 Ti, and we will remember you.
It just looks so pretty.
But it's just let's put it on a boat, light it on fire, and push it out in the bay.
No. I think what you do is you put this in your kid's system because your kid doesn't know anything about FPS. Your kid just play fork knife and at 30 FPS and be fine.
Look, I want my kid to be. I need my kid to get an esports scholarship to some sort of fancy Eastern college. And she's not gonna do that on a janky 10-year-old video card. I'm gonna take the 1080 Ti, put the 5090 in her machine, and tell her to get good so that she can go to college.
No, I think she shows up to these LAN parties, wherever you're saying she's gonna win these esports competitions.
Yeah.
And just lift over the 1080 Ti over her head and everyone is just gonna start bowing down. Because it's the GOAT!
What if, and this is a big thought here. I'm getting real smooth brain right now.
Yeah, if you stuck around to this video for this long, you're
welcome.
What you're getting.
What if you Flavor Flaved it and you got a big chain and hooked the 1080 Ti on the necklace?
Now you're off to some.
And this is just how you just representing.
I like it.
PC game.
We're here. We're representing the 1080 Ti. We love it. It's the GOAT. It still is actually performing. To this day.
In my heart, it's the number one. But on the benchmarks and in paper, it's like a distant 80th, maybe 90th.
I'd rather have the 5070 Ti.
Yeah, me too. Smash the button.
Yeah, come on, tell us when, Willis. Willis, tell us when.
Hit the goon.
And